All right, hexagonal tile. This is definitely going to take you a bit of time to be able to install just because of the shape of it and making sure that everything's going to fit correctly. And we're going to even make it more challenging on ourselves because we're doing all hexagonal tile. So you need to have those corners match or it's going to look absolutely awful. So the best thing to do is to template everything and address and basically lay everything out and make sure that it's going to fit properly before you go trying to install any of this. It really, the templating is going to really give you the indication of how it's going to look, especially around the tub. We're doing a wainscoting as well, which also provides a challenge. You don't want any small slivers down along the floor or that's going to look really awful. And obviously for this back wall, this is the showcase piece. You really want to have as many even cuts as you can have to make it look good. Now we are simplifying things in this tub surround, mainly because of the hexagonal. We don't have any recess areas like a niche or anything like that. We're going to be doing exposed corner shelving. That'll make it a lot easier. But if you were to do a niche, you got that you have to address that as well. Make sure that you don't have any slivers around that niche to make it look good. So let's first template it. We're going to do the back wall first, and then we'll do the side wall and evaluate what that is going to look like. Because yeah, you're going to basically have to make two templates to figure out exactly where this level is going to have to go. So I just have a couple pieces of scrap, or basically 2-inch strips of 1/4-inch plywood that I ripped down on a table saw, and we're going to use this as our template. So basically just sitting it right on top of that tub deck. And then making sure that it meets the wall. We're going to hot glue this together so that we can make sure that it stays together. Put a 45-degree support on it. Okay, so one important thing is to mark this so you don't get confused. I'll even put left wall so that we don't screw this up when we lay it down. Okay, so we'll leave that there for now. Now we're going to template the other one because we really can't decide where this is going to be as far as height goes until we figure out what it's going to look like on the other one. But I think that looks like it's going to work out pretty good. But we'll make the other template and really decide what we need to do here. Okay, so that gives us an indication of what we're going to be doing now. We're going to be doing a wainscoting, and we can bring out this tile, you know, as far as the side of the tub surround. You know, I mean, at the minimum, it's going to have to be right at the edge of the tub. So if you had a shower curtain, you hit it. But this is going to give us plenty of flexibility. So we don't have to be overly concerned about what the pattern will end here because we can just make it what we want. But this indication from top to bottom is really what's going to dictate what the height of this back wall is going to be so that we can have, you know, a decent cut at the bottom of the floor. So this is kind of a rough template. This wouldn't be something I would cut the tile to, because you need to have the tile up on this wall before you really template this. But this is going to give us good indication of what we need to do. And I really don't like that this would be, you basically have like a small piece here. So if we move this down, just actually just right at the half level there. Judgment call on what you want to do here. You know, then this is almost like a half tile, which that'll look fine. And I can imagine that looks pretty good. Yeah. Like a fairly full tile and then I mean, is that going to look like a sliver? 1 3/4 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't really bother me all that much.
Okay. I I think it might bother me if there's so many little slivers on the floor as opposed to just the few that would be up at the top there. I don't think that they're that bad.
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
No, I think that that's the better way to go.
Just don't do hot glue on this.
Oh, peliitis.
We'll just cut out a piece. Are you on?
Yeah.
All right, I'll just cut out a piece of this membrane so you can see how thick this is. So that's why you need to trial it. I would say this is just as thick as a Schluter membrane. So that's what you're trying to get to, and you're not going to get that with a ruler. All right, so rather than, this would be my bottom if we tried to make everything even. And I really don't want to see this at the base of the wall. I just think it looks kind of goofy. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this back down to here, and this essentially would be our top of the wall. So I think it's going to look better to have a cut piece at the top. So we'll bring our template right down to a full tile. So basically running a full tile right at the base of the tub. And then you'll have a much fuller piece here at the bottom. You know, you're talking, yeah, I mean, that's quite a bit there. That's, 3 inches. So 3 inches, I think that would look a lot better than to have such a small piece, because obviously this piece is going to be a lot bigger here. So we basically have this right here. That'd be the bottom. So, and then let's just even this up. Yeah, that's about even right there. And what's great about this, when you stack your tiles like this, so this will be our cut. So when you fold this, you don't have to worry about the hexagonal tile meeting up. If you were to lay your tile this way, then you're going to have these weird triangles that you have to kind of match these corners. So this pattern is a much more sophisticated pattern going up the wall to be able to make that work. Whereas this makes it really easy. Once you cut the tile right where this flat spot is, it's going to mirror and be, basically once I cut this side off, I'll just be able to put that right on the side there. So, and that's a decent size cut right there. We got, I mean, it's not half, but it's 4 inches. 4 inches is plenty. The back side of the tile is going to look almost be 6 inches. So that'll look great. And then when we bring it outside the wall, we can just end it where we want, where we think it looks good. So we could even, even if it was just half tile, we can end it there and be done. So now we can just mark our tiles and essentially cut all of these pieces. This is our piece that we're keeping. This is the piece we're cutting. So I'm cutting this entire line off to give us a little bit of wiggle room within that back wall. You really want to have a little bit of an expansion contraction joint on the sides. So you could even make it an 1/8 inch if you wanted. That's basically what the blade's going to create.